Hey guys, what's up? Gamer here, and I'll be comparing the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4. So the console war has been started, and today I'll be comparing the graphics of the two systems. I'll be using Battlefield 4 footage. So to start off, I just want to point out that I feel like the Xbox One has darker textured colors as opposed to the PlayStation 4's. So like in this footage, for example, it appears like the colors are shaded a bit darker as opposed to the PlayStation 4. The shadows look darker as well. So here, a picture of the soldier. You might be able to pick up on the darker tones of the Xbox One. In this case, it's a lot easier to see the darker tones, so the soldier's face on the left, which is the PlayStation 4 footage, looks much lighter, and this thing that they hand you, it looks a lot darker on the Xbox One. The shadows are a lot more of a major factor in the Xbox One's footage as opposed to the PlayStation 4, and the gun's detail is easier to pick up on the PlayStation 4 because of the lighter tones. So here's a fast frame rate moving scene. So if you can pick up, the colors look a bit darker on the Xbox. It's a bit easier to pick up some of the events going on the Xbox, just because it's easier to identify some of the things because the colors have a lot more contrast, a lot more gradient. The helicopter looks like it has a bit more detail in the Xbox One's version. For example, the shine looks a bit more major, a bit easier to identify as opposed to the PlayStation 4. So I guess one of the biggest differences so far is just the lighting. Xbox One has a lot more contrasting lighting. It has pretty light shines, really dark shadows. The PlayStation 4 has a bit more centered, bit more average shadows and lighting. So here's some footage, or here's a picture of some outside gameplay of Battlefield 4. Here's another scene with a lot of fast moving objects. Again, it looks really nice on both consoles. They both run smoothly. The fire looks realistic. The flames, sparks, they look realistic on both ends. Here you can see, for example, the soldier's outfit. It looks darker on the Xbox One. And here we have the environment. Here I'm comparing pieces of wood. So on the Xbox One, it's a bit easier to pick up the details because of the contrasting light. And here's some more footage of a soldier falling down. In this case, I feel like it's a bit nicer on the Xbox One because of the colors, but the detail looks better on the PlayStation 4. So the soldier's face isn't covered by too much shadow as it is on the Xbox One. So there's a Battlefield 4 scene where they're trying to revive a soldier. Again, it looks really nice on both consoles. If you guys can notice, the patterns on the guy's pants look a bit clearer on the Xbox One just because of the contrast. But here, I guess the shadows on the Xbox One make it a bit too dark. You're not able to see that much. But it also helps contrast this helicopter from the sky, so it's easier to pick it up. The fire looks nice on both systems again. This was one of the footages where you could tell a bit more of a major difference. So the steering wheel on the Xbox looks like it has more shine and more darker areas. The environment looks similar on both ends though. So far it seems simply that the dark colors are darker on the Xbox One than they are on the PlayStation, and the lighter colors are lighter on the Xbox One than they are on the PlayStation. So it just creates a bit more contrast between the two systems. In this case, both companies use the light very well, so you can see that light reflecting on your windshield. You can see the shine of the helicopter. Here there's a bit more shine visibility on the Xbox just because of the contrast of the shadows and the lights. In this case, I think it's a bit easier to pick up on what's going on the PlayStation 4 because it's a bit lighter and the shadows don't take away too much from the gameplay. Here we're in what appears to be Chinatown. You see the light contrasts in the nighttime looks a bit nicer on the Xbox because of the lights contrasting the dark environment. You can also see some light reflection on the windshield. It's odd that it's not in the PlayStation 4. So again, here it looks a bit clearer on the Xbox One, I guess because of the darker tones. And again, the person looks a bit clearer on the Xbox. However, here the water looks a lot more realistic on the PlayStation 4. The Xbox One gives it a blue shade, but the PlayStation 4 makes it look just like it would in real life. Here, the ground looks nice on both systems. The light reflections also very well done. The fence, however, I feel looks a bit better on the Xbox. It's a lot more clear because I guess of the contrast of the background and the fence itself. So in terms of specs, the PlayStation 4 runs naturally at 1080p, whereas the Xbox One runs at 720p upscale to 1080p. So it'll make images, especially on larger TVs, a lot more clearer on the PlayStation 4. So again, here it looks very similar. The shadows are a bit darker on the Xbox again. The light here is a bit more visual, a bit more major in the Xbox One system. Like, so far, as you can see from the footage, it's simply just that the Xbox has more contrasting shades, darker tones, lighter tones, and I guess it's a matter of opinion. Sometimes it doesn't look as realistic as PlayStation 4 because of how much contrast there is. So when we're in a tunnel, there's a bit too much shadow. When you're looking at a soldier, there's a lot of shadow on his face as opposed to the PlayStation 4's. But in some cases, it looks a lot nicer on the Xbox One when you take it overall as a whole because of the contrasting colors. So it's really a matter of opinion on what you prefer. Some may prefer the details, some may prefer the shadows, the contrasts. It's really up to you. Microsoft did a nice job of using lights within their graphics. And of course, Battlefield 4 is running at 1080p on both consoles. In this case, it's a lot easier to see the soldier running across you on the Xbox One because it's contrasting well with the sunlight. And the soldier on the right, so the Xbox One footage looks a bit clearer because of the contrast as well. The doors look very similar. So that's the Xbox One versus PlayStation 4 comparison. I hope you guys liked it, and please subscribe, comment, like, and share. Thank you.